Hi, it's Wendy Hernandez with Command the Courtroom. And in this week's video, I want to talk with you about not giving up when you're in the middle of a family court case, especially a custody case. This time in your life is probably one of the most stressful times in your life because the most important things in your life are at stake. And at times when the other side, it feels like the other side has the upper hand, you might just feel like giving up. And in the course of my practice, I've had a lot of clients who have told me, listen, this is just too much, it's not worth it, it's too expensive, it's too stressful, and I just want to give up. But I will tell you that in all of those cases, after talking to my clients and getting them to acknowledge how important it is to have their children in their lives, not one of those people chose to give up. And I decided that I wanted to talk with you about this topic today because this past week I got a couple of emails from some of my viewers. And in one of the emails, a mother was feeling very discouraged. She had signed up to receive my best interest checklist, and after reviewing the checklist and all of the factors, she came to the conclusion that she was really, quote, screwed in her case and that her ex was just going to get whatever he wanted. In the other email that I received, a father was upset because his ex had badly beaten his daughter, and despite this fact, the court allowed the mother to have temporary physical custody of the child pending the case or pending the trial. And he was also feeling very discouraged. And this is very discouraging. And I can understand how it would make somebody really feel like they want to give up. But there's a couple of important things here. This family law process, especially when there's children involved, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And hopefully in your case, it will only take weeks or months, and that's the best case scenario, for you to get to where you want with your children. But there are other cases where sometimes it takes years to get where you want. But the question you have to ask yourself is, how important are my children to me? How much do they need me? And how much do I want them in my lives? And if you reach the conclusion that they really need you, and they do, I'm telling you that they do, and you want them in your lives, then you have to do what it takes. Even if it's going to take more than a couple of weeks or a couple of months, even if it's going to take years, you cannot give up. Your children need you. So just to kind of counterbalance these emails that I was just telling you about, I want to talk to you about a couple of cases that I've had in my own office where situations seemed hopeless, but my clients decided to move forward and press forward, and things ended up being okay. So in one of these cases, a client came to me and she had been badly beaten up. She had been kicked out of her home. She was representing herself at the beginning of the case, and after going to a temporary orders hearing, the judge said, "You're not having any time at all with your daughter." And my client, or the woman who later became my client, she had some serious mental health issues. She suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. She had serious and a long history of drug issues. She was only sporadically employed. There were a lot of problems that she was having to deal with and challenges she was having to face. Because I really felt for her, I decided to take her case on pro bono, which means for free. And we started working through some of these issues, and we tackled them one day at a time, one step at a time. So we got her help through the state so she could get the attention she needed for her mental health condition. She started treating with a psychiatrist and taking medication and going to appointments on a regular basis. She got herself off drugs. She went to a program that she really felt like she needed to go to, and she completed the program, a drug rehab program. She tested for the court on a weekly basis for several months, and that was an expense to her, and it was difficult, but her daughter was so important to her, she felt it was worth it. So my client got individual counseling in addition to the psychiatric treatment, and she did a lot. And so fast forward to more than a year later, my client has joint custody of her daughter with her ex, and she also has unsupervised parenting time with her ex. That's a huge leap from where she was when she came in to see me. And although her ultimate goal is to have her daughter half of the time to share equal parenting time with her ex. She's not there yet, but she's started with the parenting time that she has now, and she's going to keep seeing her child and show the judge that she's going to be a regular and consistent force in her child's life, and that at some point the judge is going to give her, it's going to be okay for the judge to give her equal time. So that's example one, where a situation seemed hopeless and my client turned it around because she thought her daughter was worth it. In the other situation, it was just a trial that I had yesterday, actually, and it was a very difficult situation. We went into the court, and it was a custody case where the other side was asking for sole custody of the daughter, and my client wanted joint custody. The other side only wanted my client to have supervised access with the child, or monitored access. The judge wanted to see us before the trial and talk to us about the case and give his impressions about the case. And walking in, I just knew that the judge was going to say that what we were asking for really wasn't in the cards. And we were asking for joint. The other party was asking for sole. We were asking actually for the child to be moved to another state, and the other side wanted the child to live here in Arizona. So at the time that we went into trial, my client wasn't getting any time with the child. I talked to the judge about what had been going on in the case as the case was pending over a period of more than a year, that there was a therapist involved in the case, and that the therapist had aligned with the father, and her recommendations were biased because the information she was receiving was only from father, that she was refusing to meet with my client, she was refusing to listen to what my client had to say. And the judge was really skeptical about what I was telling him, because a lot of attorneys make promises and they don't follow through on them. But I assured the judge when we went into court that he would see from the evidence presented about this alliance that really wasn't fair, that was to the detriment of my client, that was depriving my client and her daughter of the relationship that they deserved. So we went into court, we presented the evidence, we laid out all the emails and the communications that had happened between the therapist and the father, and the lack of communication between the therapist and my client, and we proved our case. And it would have been really easy going in, especially after talking to the judge, for my client to just give up. But after having the conversation with the judge, I went into the courtroom, I talked to my client, I told her what the judge had said, and I told her what I thought we could prove, but, I also told her I didn't think there was any guarantees. And, I explained that she needed to follow her heart about what was best for her child. She had to do what she thought was reasonable and what would benefit her child, and she did that. And what ended up happening was, at the end of the trial, the judge ruled from the bench, and he gave my client joint decision making, and she has unrestricted access with the child. The court did not order that the child could move, but again, it was a success, because whereas before my client wasn't having any access with the child, at the end of yesterday, she is. And my client, of course, was disappointed in the result because the child's not moving home, but she understands it's a process. It's going to take time. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint. So please, wherever you are in your family law case or your child custody case, don't give up. Do whatever you can to stay involved. Communicate with the other parent. If you need to get some sort of mental health treatment, get it. If you need to do drug testing, get it. If you have to complete a drug rehab program, get it. If you need to go to parenting classes, go to those parenting classes. But don't give up. You're going to probably have to jump through some hoops that you don't want to. That might cost you money. That might take time. But that's the price. That's the price you're going to have to pay if you really want to increase the chance that you want to be involved in your child's life. So I hope this little message of hope inspired you. Don't give up wherever you are. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. Any kind of reaction is great. If you want more of my videos, be sure and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Be sure and like me on Facebook. Either way, YouTube or Facebook, you'll get notified when each week's video is released. I release them once a week. But remember, keep on trucking and command the courtroom. I'll see you next week.